All right, we are live.
Hi, everybody. It's Mary from BehindTheChair.com. I haven't seen you guys for a while. I hope everybody is doing great. I have a special guest with me today, Mr. Jack Winn from Jackman Pro. How are you, Jack?
Excellent. Mary, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. We're going to see you in Orlando, right?
We will be in Orlando. I think that you guys have blessed us with like an entire 45 minutes on the stage. So
All right.
I think it's Tuesday. Jacqueline Pro will be on the stage. You guys haven't released the exact times yet, but sometime on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's great. We're super excited about having you. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today, Jack, is I don't know too many people that are keeping their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry as much as you are. I know that you and I have had these conversations a lot about what's actually happening in the industry, as it relates to inflation, as it relates to supply chain issues, and so forth. So I want to say hello, and I want to jump right in because I think hairdressers out there today, I think most of them are feeling some of this right now, but I think that there are bigger issues that are even coming, in terms of supply chain and things like that, that maybe they haven't experienced as much. But what I want to just ask you, Jack, right now is what are you hearing in the market right now? You've got, and tell us first a little bit about your company, because I want to get there first, because you have a really unique sort of proposal for hairdressers. And then I want to just jump right into, what's happening in the market, what you're hearing from your salons.
Yeah, no. So Jackman Pro started in 2015. We sell to only licensed professionals. And we kind of changed the industry completely, and we want to control. Well, since we've started, we wanted to completely control our supply chain. So we don't use any distributors at all. We store everything in our warehouses. We actually manufacture our own product. So we control everything from the purchasing of the raw material to the distribution of it to the stylists. It's all done in our facilities. So it is quite a bit different. But the heartbeat of Jackman Pro, when we launched in 2015, the heartbeat was to improve the lives of stylists. So that was by bringing them better education, by bringing them better products, because if they can get better results from their clients, it'll improve their life, they'll charge more. And then better community, really connecting stylist community over competition. And then finally, better business. So we don't have any salespeople at all. The only people that earn commissions by introducing Jackman Pro to other stylists are licensed professionals that are currently using the product. So this was all started in 2015, pre-pandemic. I had no idea how special it would be for stylists during that pandemic because beauty supplies shut down, but some stylists needed to work to feed their families. And so we were still able to get product in their hands and kind of take care of them. And this live, I think, is actually quite relevant because we're talking about business in a post-pandemic world. But the truth is, it's only post-pandemic for some of us. In the US, we're blessed enough to be in a position where a lot of our governments, and without getting, you and I can get into a political tangent together, I know that, but we've reduced lockdowns, we've opened restrictions, people can work, and that is a true blessing. But today in Shanghai, where most things that are manufactured in China leave from ports of Xi'an, Jizan, and Shanghai, and all three of those cities are under lockdown right now. Yeah. And so there are hundreds and hundreds of boats with thousands and thousands of containers. They're sitting, waiting to unload and be reloaded in China right now. And I was just at Cosmoprof in Bologna, Italy, talking with some manufacturing partners, and I was actually helping. Here and there, I do a little consulting still with other manufacturers. And
oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was actually doing a project for somebody much larger than we are, helping deal with some of their supply chain issues. But no one is acknowledging the fact that thousands and thousands of containers are stopped off the coast of China. And even if your product is manufactured in Latin America, or if your product is manufactured in Italy, like ours is, or if it's manufactured in Spain or France, where a lot of L'Oreal's products come from, you wouldn't imagine that those boats stopped off of the coast of China would dramatically affect the supply chain. But the truth is, both raw materials need to come from China. but those containers that will move that product from the US need to come from China. Those containers kind of work on a big loop, right? They'll go, US, West Coast, East Coast, down along Latin America, then back up to Europe, to China, and then loop all the way back around. So when you break that loop, it really causes a big supply chain issue. At Jackman Pro, we've just made a decision to airship a lot of our products, send them by air to be sure that our stylists have the tools that they need. That's actually part of the product I was working on for another company, was to help them streamline their air shipping and get their raw materials and get things moving. Another thing that people don't think about is this situation in Ukraine, right? It's pretty interesting. About half of the aluminum in Europe comes out of the Ukraine, out of the Ukraine.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew a number of, issues like fertilizer for our crops, come out of Russia. I know that all of the grain, so much of our grain comes out of Ukraine. I didn't know aluminum came out of Ukraine.
You know what is in aluminum?
What?
Hair color. We store hair color in aluminum tubes.
Oh yeah, of course. I was like, wait, I thought you meant in the actual product.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you think about this,
I know.
Hair color comes in aluminum tubes. So it's pretty, it's kind of pretty intense supply chain demand right now for hair color manufacturers. And so we had a kind of rewind. There's so much to talk about, like in this.
It's kind of like if you guys are just joining us right now, this is Jack Winn, Jacqueline Pro. We're having a conversation. I'm Mary, the founder of BehindTheChair.com. We're having a conversation today about some really some major things that are affecting you, whether you know it yet or not. That certainly are going to be affecting you. A lot of it has to do with supply chain, and I'll just bring this up as Jack is talking. Is we're just talking about some of the issues that are going on in China and Ukraine, and what we rely on, across the world in a sense. As to what our expectations can be. One of the major issues, like if you started to look in the pandemic time, one of the big problems that all of our hair care companies were really challenged with is in China, just trying to get caps and bottles. Now today, the big problem, now even if you could get caps and bottles, now you can't get ingredients in some cases. And so it's a back and forth. And as Jack was just saying, aluminum, half of the aluminum is made in Ukraine. That's crazy. I had no idea. And then, of course, there's hair color. Hair color is in aluminum. So you can now maybe get the ingredients in some cases, but you can't get the tubes to put them in. So we're sort of like, we keep going round and round the same situation. And with China still locked down, what are you anticipating, Jack? With China still entirely locked down, what supply chain issues are we going to are we going to?
For us at Jackman Pro, because one, I consult to help other companies with manufacturing, and obviously I'm focused on manufacturing at Jackman Pro.
I also just want to alert our audience to the fact that you're a chemist as well. So you actually you're a hairdresser and you're a chemist. So you make the products. You're actually creating these products, which I think is super cool. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, so the big gamble that we made at Jackman Pro, and it worked for us early in the pandemic, was I wanted to get as much product into our warehouses as possible for fear that shutdowns would affect the supply chain. And it was a great gamble because we ended up selling it all much quicker than we thought because so many other people were shut down. So I've kind of continued that gamble. I would say most manufacturers try and have 6 months of inventory on hand, and they want to have really clean inventory turns, because it used to be the old school way of thinking about business was a clean inventory turn was profitable. Why keep the money in a warehouse when you can keep the money in your checking account, right? So this is the way that it used to be. Well, in inflationary times for me, I would much rather keep the product in my warehouse because it's increasing in value at the rate of the dollar instead of the dollar sitting in my bank account, right? And with inflation, like it's essentially just being devalued during this inflationary time. So this is kind of boring business stuff, hairdressers, but where it really pertains to you guys is at Jackman Pro, we've made a big inventory play to have as much possible stock as we can have. So as price gouging will happen, because you can call it price gouging, I'll call it supply and demand, however you want to look at it, right? So when there's a low supply of aluminum tubes, the aluminum tube manufacturer has less tubes to sell, but they want to make their money. So what are they going to do? They're going to raise the price of the aluminum tube, and the aluminum tube is going to go to the highest bidder. So you'll see that as stylists in smaller hair color brands will start to disappear. Just sad. That hurts my heart because I think little guys are innovating incredibly well. And you'll see the prices go up quickly with the bigger guys because they will have the capital to buy those tubes. And the other thing that I think you'll see, which I find slightly...
It's important to explain what you just said. So the best way for me to explain it to hairdressers is, the little guy's the last one into the port and the last one to get everything trucked. So when you guys think about it, like I think about it, like if I'm flying and, I'm United Airlines that has a hub in Chicago, if I'm flying on a smaller airline, my flight's going to get canceled where the United flight's going to fly in because they have a hub there. So anybody that's Walmart, Target, Procter & Gamble products, et cetera, or Amazon, those are going to make it into the port. And in some cases, some companies are actually sending ships out to the ships to pick their goods up. Now, we know that small manufacturers are not able to do that. So as Jack's saying, the smaller companies are sitting around waiting for ingredients, waiting for product to get there. And that's not to say all companies, but as a whole, regardless of whether it's this industry or any other, that's one of the challenges. And so it's really, I remember you telling me that you had sort of predicted some potential shortfalls of product in the industry. And that was something that you were thinking a lot about, was whether or not you could, you could really put an emphasis on getting that product into the warehouses. So in case there were shortages in some areas, and we're already experiencing those, we did a survey, Jack, a couple months ago that said that we asked them, have you experienced supply chain? We could do that today, supply chain issues, meaning have you experienced product in your local store, Cosmoprof or SalonCentric, that has been out of stock that you normally use? And of course, nearly 70% said yes. And then we also asked them what product they had purchased in response to that because they couldn't get that particular product. And so there's a lot of opportunity, I think, that comes out of that. And it's, and I think that you guys will experience and have experienced the benefit and been the beneficiary of that shortage in some ways, because you have been willing to, that just-in-time delivery that people hear about was actually the kiss of death for many companies, as you said, because they weren't keeping stock. So just in time has been a major issue for everyone. So tell us a little bit about what your predictions were and how you feel that you're going to be able to help hairdressers through this time of shortage of product, because that's probably one of the biggest issues I think hairdressers are going to experience, even worse than what they're experiencing right now.
Yeah, I mean, another big issue I think hairdressers will experience is they won't raise their prices fast enough. I will tell you guys, I think costs are just going to go up. At Jackman Pro, we don't think that we'll have to raise prices at the same rate as our competitors because we were able to sort of buy a ton of product before the supply chain got very, very expensive. It continues to increase. Raw materials continue to increase in cost. Paper continues to increase in cost. Every aluminum tube comes in a paper box, right? So all of these components continue to increase in costs. I'll tell you, when I was just in Italy last time, I was doing like an inspection of paper that came in, and some of the creases looked bad. Like you could see the creases weren't folded well. And generally we would reject that box, and we would say like, okay, we'll take a new delivery of this. But we were advised that we don't know when your next like 200,000 paper boxes will come in, right? So let's take it with a bad crease. Now, the difference between a CEO that is both a chemist and a hairdresser is I won't accept lower quality in terms of raw material ingredients that are going in the tube, but I can totally accept the lower quality on the box, right? The box is thrown in like you take the tube out of the box, you throw the box in the trash and you use it. Now, what's going on somebody's scalp, what's going to create those beautiful pigments and the rich, beautiful dye lots that Jackman Pro is known for, that's where we can't compromise on quality. So really having been able to predict that and buy it in advance is going to be a little bit of an edge for us. For the past 4 years, Jackman Pro has been around 6. So this is how you'll know this is a true story. Was for the past 4 years, we've ran at less than 1% back order. So we have about 400 SKUs. And
Wow.
so we never have more than 4 that are back ordered at the same time. Now, in year 2, we had some growing pains. We were like sitting around 10 or 15%. And I realized it mattered. I will tell you, we lost some stylists at that time that loved our product, but couldn't deal with the lack of reliability. And it was a big business lesson for me, right? And it's one that has like rung true in my soul since. And it's in our whole office. I say to people all the time, even if it means we have to run a quarter or 2 quarters in a row that aren't profitable because we spend a ton on air shipping or we pay more than someone else for raw material, we want to run at less than 1% back order. I'll say this, like companies like mine spend a lot on marketing. And if we could think about our raw materials as marketing as well, by just keeping the quality of our product perfect and making sure we're always in stock, and just look at that as another marketing bucket, I think it would improve our industry as a whole. But I will tell you, these larger companies, they have their operations people and their supply chain people and their marketing people, and the left hand isn't always talking to the right hand. But at Jackman Pro, I make that decision knowing that having consistency batch over batch for a stylist, so their 6-in is always their 6-in, their 5-in is always their 5-in, is so important to me. So if you see changes as a stylist out there, try something different, try something new, try a company that is willing to invest in the ingredients, make sure that you're going to have consistency from your 5-in to your 5-in, that things will be consistent. Hair, this beautiful canvas that is hair, this natural fabric that is hair, it's inconsistent enough. Like women have hormone changes, there's weather, there's hard water. That fabric is inconsistent enough that you don't need the product that you use to be inconsistent as well.
So Jack, I'm curious, why would that happen? Like having why would that happen? Having a 5-in be different?
Yeah, I mean, so I will tell you, in chemistry, we call them tolerances for ingredients, right? So when we test a raw material, we have a tolerance level of the pH, like what spectrum it has to fall in. Nothing is perfectly same batch over batch, result over result. We keep very narrow tolerances. And the bigger vats that you manufacture your product in, the bigger your tolerances need to be. So I actually only make 1,600 tubes of a single shade at a time. So I make like 1,600 tubes of 5-in, and then we test 16 out of that 1,600. So we test 1 in every 100, and we look for those tolerances. And so then we can keep those tolerances narrow, because the worst case scenario is I'm throwing away 1,600 tubes, right? Not like making a vat of 16,000, where if the tolerances weren't there, we'd be throwing away 16,000. So we have very narrow tolerances with all of our batching, all of our raw materials. And quality is of the utmost importance to us at Jacqueline Pro, because again, if you can create a product that is really truly better for the stylist will have better results. Their clients will trust them more. They'll be able to raise their prices quicker. They'll be able to just live a better life. And that's our mission, is to improve the lives of stylists at Jacqueline Pro.
Let's talk a little bit about inflation too. This is, I did a presentation, a couple of them, but one back in January. I need to do another one. In fact, you guys, for all of you guys out there, guess what? I'm going to announce my own summer school classes. I'm really excited. BTC University is going to have a series of summer school classes. I'm going to do a 4-week summer school class. I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be free to all of our BTCU members. And I want to do it because what we experienced back in January, and talking about inflation, it's here, and it's here in a really big way. And so some of the things I want to ask you about that, Jack, is what are you seeing with your salons right now, and how are they, what pieces of advice? Sorry, I'm going to sit up here a little bit higher so I can get into my screen. We were having, sorry, first of all, for our technical difficulties earlier. I could not get my camera on, so doing this on my big computer, so we're doing this on my phone. So I look like I'm the little kid at the adult table right now in terms of the way my camera's set up. But I just want to ask you about inflation. What's happening with your salons? I know that one of the cool things about you being a CEO is that you talk to your salons all the time. Like you're on the phone with them every single day, all of your top salons and so forth. What do you guys experience? What are you experiencing through them? What are they sharing with you?
I mean, I will tell you personally, in our household, my husband and I go to Costco and buy the goods for our house. And he actually really pays attention to this stuff. And he will literally announce me. He'll be like, the stuffed peppers that we buy at Costco, were always $11.90, and today they're $14. And so he makes all of these announcements. And of course, our director of operations at Jackman Pro, she's constantly comparing year over year our costs on things. And we're seeing 20 to 25%. And I'll tell you, salon owners that I talk to, honestly, Mary, aren't seeing it personally because they're not keeping tabs of the dollars and cents the way they should be. I can tell you they're shopping at the same Costco that I'm shopping at.
Yeah.
They're buying, my husband's name is Adam. Adam can announce to me what toilet paper costs, right? He knows exactly what that 36 rolls of toilet paper cost. And he knows like Rain Man for the past 3 years. Well, the hairdressers are buying that same toilet paper for their salons. And he told me it was up 140% from 3 years ago, which is absolutely wild. But we know that during the pandemic, we had big paper shortages. We know that when supply and demand increases and costs go up, even when the manufacturer's cost drops again, they don't reduce down their price for the consumer. There's a stop loss on price increases. When you see the price of a paper good go up, you don't ever see it go back down because they lost money. I mean, a business loses money as the prices are going up because they don't raise them fast enough, right? So when their costs of material regulate, they have to make up ground before it increases and catches back. So you don't see adjustments in the marketplace. So sadly, to answer your question, I don't feel like salon owners are being honest with themselves about the money they're losing. And it's because they love their clients so much. And they know if they're honest with themselves about prices going up, that translates to them having to raise their prices. And so then we get into an emotional conversation. Because if we just don't look at what's happening over here, then we don't have to worry about increasing the prices. But the sad part about that is the only person that is losing, these manufacturers of goods, they're keeping their businesses healthy, and then your clients are keeping their prices where they were. The only person that's losing is the hairdresser, and that breaks my heart. But I will tell you, we are definitely seeing inflation. And again, you and I can get politically very easily, but I will tell you, the inflation numbers that are being released by the federal government are a flat lie.
They're not accurate.
Yeah, I mean,
no, they're not. They're
you
not.
said it much nicer than I did. Good job.
I think. Well, no, but they're not. And also, the one thing for all of you guys that are listening or will be listening, inflation is different everywhere in the country. So, let's say that you're in California and you're driving, to work every day. I mean, your gas right now is double, almost triple or maybe even slightly more than triple what it was 2 years ago. So so you've got to start thinking about what that cost is. So we're not just talking about what the salon cost is, but what's that gas cost just to get there? That's it's $7.70 in Los Angeles right now for gas. So you've got to look at that. Foil is double what it used to be, and gloves have gone up threefold. So gloves are up 300%. So when you start thinking about that, I know I made this little meme that said, hi, I mean, every single day I'm taking $100 bill out of your pocket, when you don't notice, signed inflation, and the point is that if you're keeping your prices the same, you're continuing to take a pay cut every single day. And if you can right now, because so many things are going up, it does make a lot of sense to start thinking about the things that you can't live without. Is it bleach? Think about is it 5N? What are the things that you absolutely know that you can't live without in the salon? And if you do have extra cash, to make sure to start thinking about what these prices are, go online and find out what everybody is expecting prices to be and some of the things that you're doing in the salon. Gas, I mean, we know electric or heat and air conditioning are up over 60% in about 70% of the country. So I would really highly recommend that everybody that's out there, everybody's raising their prices. That means that you need to raise your prices too. And I saw, we've continued to say, don't apologize for that. You've got to build those prices. You've got to build, your additional expenses into the prices that you have, and you've got to start looking at where you can cut costs. If you do have a little bit of extra cash sitting around, think about what you know you're going to use for sure in terms of product or whatever it may be, that you can't live without. And maybe, I hate using the word stockpile, but maybe start thinking about, how to take advantage of that. But the key thing is pay attention. And I think that's the thing. People are like, I don't want bad news. Bad news is it's not a doom and gloom. It's preparation is smart. Be prepared for what has the possibility, and then start doing your what if strategies. If this happens, we're going to do this. If this happens, we're going to do that. And so I think in the manufacturing side of the business as well, you guys have to be doing those what if strategies too, and making sure that you've got all of your product. And it sounds like you have been doing that pretty successfully.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I think is crazy inflation, I know that you guys know this with the BTC show coming, I'm super excited about that, is travel has gone up in cost as well. One of our big sort of fun things we do to improve the lives of stylists is we take stylists on really fun trips. We're taking a group of stylists to Italy to participate in some of their manufacturing. And, I know how much it costs to travel to Italy. I do it once a quarter to visit our manufacturing partners. And all of a sudden that's up 30-40%. We take, some of our best retail sellers, we take them on a tropical vacation in Mexico every year. And that trip is coming in February, and it's literally going to cost us 40% more than it cost last year to take that same size group of stylists on this tropical vacation. So now I will say travel costs, they actually do fluctuate. Like airlines will lower and raise their prices based upon the price of oil and the price of demand. And I think there's a big demand on travel right now because people want to get back out and do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, our BTC show ticket sales have been incredible. So we're about to announce the lineup and everything. So we're excited about that. Last year, we didn't announce the lineup because we were terrified of, was the show going to go on? Was the show not going to go on? So the next week, we're actually going to be, actually it could be in this week, that we're going to be announcing the entire show is sold out already with all of our manufacturer partners. So we're super, super excited about that.
You guys always outdo yourself with those shows, but last year's was my very favorite yet. And I've said this every year. I feel like it's my very favorite BTC show ever. But last year's was really special. And I think it was that sort of like, we're free to go be with people, to like connect with our friends, to see beautiful education on stage. And I know that it's just going to be that times two, because there was a population of people who were willing to go last year. But now I feel like almost everyone is willing to go this year. And so
we, and for OneShot too, I mean, the Australian Hairdresser of the Year just told me that he's booked his tickets from Australia to come to the show. So it's really exciting to see, like, we're going to get all of our friends back from all over the world again this year, because of course they've been locked down and some of them have not experienced our OneShot Hair Awards. They've won it, but they haven't been able to be here, to participate in it. And so I agree. I think that last year was just that relief of being together. This year, I think, again, we've got huge, all of our brands are back. Some just amazing names. Our Tuesday is going to be one of the things I'm really excited about. Tuesday is really heavy look and learn sessions. So some of our best teams are going to be on Tuesday with lengthier presentations and things like that as well. So we're really excited about that. It's just I just know that people are ready to the inflation is here, but thank God, knock on wood, knock on everything, that we don't have another pandemic breakout. But so far, I think people are very, very excited about being able to come. Plus, the pool party is going to be epic again, because we've got a giant resort in Orlando that we'll be at. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm really excited about Tuesday and to be amongst just incredible other look and learn segments. We have both cut in color going on in our 45-minute segment. So if you're booking the BTC show, make sure that you're staying through Tuesday.
Oh yeah. We're releasing, like I said, we're releasing all of it. And Tuesday's a really exciting day. We've got huge, including you, like we've got some huge names coming up. So talk to me a little bit about also just what are you anticipating over the next, 6 months, like for hairdressers? I mean, how can they continue to build their business? Also, one of the things that you were just talking about, I want to just talk about your strategy a little bit in terms of your business too. with the time that we have left is I just want to understand, you're talking about retail sellers, so which is a little bit different. You're talking about walk us through like what the strategy is, because one of the things I think is really cool about your business is that that everybody has to use hair color, so they get they get rewards based on that. But when they share the Jacqueline Pro concept with others, they continue to be able to build off of that and earn money from that. So can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talk about dollars instead of points, right? So if you're a qualified Jackman Pro associate, meaning that you spend more than $235 a month with Jackman Pro, which is super easy when you're buying your pro products, your, back bar shampoo, conditioner, styling products, lighteners, activators, hair color, all of that stuff. When you're buying with Jackman Pro, you'll spend $235. You automatically get 10% back on every single thing that you purchase, as long as you're spending more than $235 a month. The other really cool thing is any licensed professional that you refer, you get paid 10% back on whatever they purchase for the lifetime of them using the product. So it gives you an opportunity if you're an educator. For example, there's incredible educators in our industry who go out and they'll charge $300-$500 for a hands-on class. And they teach that person how to do an incredible technique, and they show them how to use the product. And, sometimes they're affiliated with a manufacturer or not affiliated with a manufacturer. But if they're using and teaching with Jackman Pro and that person says, hey, I get this look great. Thank you so much for teaching me. I'm going to start ordering Jackman Pro because I'm getting great results the way that you taught me. That educator then gets paid 10% on whatever that person orders for the rest of forever. So rather than how most manufacturers work with their educators is they just pay that person one time to go teach that class. And there's like a salesperson out in their territory who gets that 10%, who didn't actually really make the deal happen. And I hate to be so crass about it, but this industry is full of non-licensed salespeople that make a lot of money on the backs of stylists. And there's a salesperson, and then there's a regional manager, and then there's a regional vice president, and there's this like huge corporate pyramid scheme, just like taking money off the backs of licensed professionals. And so I wanted to change that. And a piece of my history is that I've been in the pro beauty industry on the manufacturing side as a chemist for a long time. Yeah. And I watched marketing departments kind of dictate the products that we were innovating for many years. And so when I launched this company, I really wanted to listen to stylists to innovate and create better products. And I say all the time, like, I'm an okay stylist. Mary, I'm not the best stylist in the world, but I think I'm a really good chemist. And I think I'm the best lover of hairdressers that you'll ever meet. Like, I really want to, like that's what I believe I'm the best at, is taking care of stylists, improving the lives of stylists. And I'm a really good chemist, and I'm an okay hairdresser. So what I choose to do is I choose to listen to the best hairdressers that I can meet and understand the product needs that they have. Instead, like we have obviously have a marketing department at Jackman Pro, right? But most of their job is, how can we get more money in the hands of licensed professionals? How can we listen? Like, we actually have a stylist advisory council that gives us input on what products they want next. And one of our biggest bragging rights is whenever we take a group of stylists on a vacation, we always kind of have like a roundtable discussion, and we really like boil down 3 or 4 products that they want to see released in the next year. Great. And I've always released every single product that we've come down to in those meetings. So that's sort of the opportunity to build a really big Jackman Pro team. And without getting into a story that makes me cry, because I feel like every time I start talking about this, I'll end up crying. It's not for me about the stylist who goes out and grows. We've got so many educators who've joined Jackman Pro, and they're making an extra $10,000 or $20,000 a month because they've referred a ton of people. They had big followings on social media. They were great educators. Great. That's wonderful for them. They were going to do good no matter where they landed. Now, did I give them more residual income than anyone else? Yes. But they were going to be fine no matter where they landed. For me, it's about that rural stylist who used to have to drive an hour back and forth to Beauty Supply and arrive at Beauty Supply and find that they didn't have their product there. like making sure that I can ship to that product in 1 to 2, that stylist, their product in 1 to 2 days. And when they tell their other rural stylists, like, hey, this is working for me, they're getting that 10%. And so that rural stylist maybe is making $300-400 extra dollars a month. Not the 10 or 20,000 like that incredible educator that I was talking about. They're great. I love them. But what changes my heart is oftentimes these rural stylists, an extra $300 a month means that they can have a date night with their husband, right? An extra $300 a month means that they're not stressed about paying their electric bill. And those are the lives that on real scale we're changing, right? Yes, I love the educator. It's great for my brand. It attracts more people, and we've got several of those. But I don't need to buy another new BMW for somebody, right? Like I need to change the lives of thousands of people that can choose to use a company's product that truly puts the stylist first. And that's what we're all about at Jackman Pro. So that's the opportunity piece. Let me talk to you guys about the retail piece, because I think that was actually the question that you asked.
Just to understand, how all of it, how everything works. And you can ship the product within within 1 to 2 days everywhere.
Yeah, so 70% of the US gets the product in 1 day.
Wow.
And then a remaining 20% is 2 days. And then the last 10% is 3 days. So if you live like in Maine, you might be about 3 days. And if you live in like Puerto Rico, you might be 3 days as well. So like 10% takes 3 days, but everyone else is 1 or 2 days. But 70% is 1 day.
Yeah, cool.
And it's not coming from a 3PL. For non-business people, that's third-party logistics. We don't use someone else. So your shipment isn't being prioritized. We actually ship directly from our warehouses, California and Texas. So they go directly from our warehouses. In fact, this is kind of silly, Mary, but about every day I go and write a sweet note on a box to a stylist, just to let them know it's actually coming from our offices. So
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
that's so cool.
It's different.
So cool. I love that story too, because with our BTC team, our influencer team, we have a box program that we do with about 1,500 hairdressers that that receive boxes as like their first step of becoming an influencer. And we're actually going to be announcing. I'm announcing it now. Maybe I shouldn't be announcing it, but we're going to create another level. And I think, and that's sort of that first level of getting paid, but not being like that big and, that bigger influencer yet. And I love that. And I think, seeing those stories that people tell you where they paid off their car or they were able to buy a house because they're now getting paid as an influencer, I think those are really amazing stories. And it's interesting because I love what you're saying about just what you guys do as it relates to the chain, right, of who gets paid, but everybody that's in your journey, to the stylist gets paid. Every one of them are a stylist, and they all get paid in the journey. And I think it's a really cool way to help hairdressers make extra money, because I think that's one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot, right, is making money while you sleep, trying to come up with another way of making additional money. And one of those is raising your prices, and another is obviously selling retail, and another is something like this. And it's very difficult when you're working behind the chair, all day long, to come up with strategies and ways to be able to make additional money. And especially now with the I keep wanting to say the pandemic, now with inflation, it's like we go from one sort of crisis situation right into the other one. And so I think that there's just really great opportunities for that. So what else would you like to talk about? I know we've talked about inflation. I know we've talked about, and again, we could go on about inflation, I think, for a really long time. I think for hairdressers that are out there, like we just said, this is Jacqueline Pro. He and I talk a lot about, supply chain. We talk a lot about inflation. We talk a lot about preparation. So if you were to sort of like give me 4 or 5 sort of key ways that hairdressers should be prepared for sort of like how inflation is affecting them or how they could help improve their business right now, what would those things be?
Yeah, I mean, one, I would say that be nimble. You may have to switch product companies. Be open to being nimble. Definitely be open to changing your service menu. I see a ton of pricing schemes. Like some people are charging by the hour, some people are charging a la carte, some people just like, I'll tell you, when I'm behind the chair, I only have 2 services and I make them so simple. I say it's an everything day, like meaning you're going to get like your balayage and your base color and everything, or it's your touch-up day, meaning we're just going to touch up your gray. And so I literally have just 2 prices behind the chair. And the touch-up day gets 30 minutes on my books. The rest is with my assistant. And then the everything day gets an hour on my books, and the rest is with my assistant. And so that was really simple for me. And I can easily just raise that price by 20% on both of those things, right? It's super simple for me. Now, and by the way, let me get totally honest, Mary, my income isn't reliant on what I do.
Right, exactly.
Right? So just being very transparent there. But if it was, what I would do right now instead of raising my prices by 20% is I would just make it a
simple thing. I think I agree with you. Everybody's like wondering, you don't want to keep raising your prices over and over and over again. And I agree with you. I think just a simple 20 to 25% across the board. And we know but that's going to take that, hopefully will come close. And I know that people are saying, well, everybody else is hurting too. Everybody else is hurting too. That's not your responsibility. It's just not. You are as well. And so you've got a couple of things you have to think about, right? Is how can you make a service shorter in some way for that client so you get more clients in. So again, I understand that you need to be able to raise your prices, because if you're just barely getting by, you've got to raise your, like, you don't have an option. I mean, you really don't have an option right now. Otherwise, every day you're losing money, and you're going to get to the end of the year and look at your bank account and go, what happened? So I think everybody's got to be paying really close attention to this right now.
So we said 1, be nimble, be willing to switch if you need to. 2, raise your prices. And 3, educate yourselves. I cannot tell you how important I know Mary has this incredible library of education called BTC University. There's so much incredible education out there. I happen to be partial to BTC University, but whether it's that or something else, educate yourself, because there will be a little game of musical chairs. And I want to say this, I can guarantee you the hairdresser who charges the most in the world is not watching Mary and I right now. They're not. So there's always a place for the client to move down from and move up to. So there's a bit of musical chairs that goes on in our industry, right? So when I raise my prices, if I have a client complain, which they don't, but let's say pretend I did, I would say there's these 18 hairdressers that I've trained in the past 2 years that I adore, and their prices are more competitive than mine are, right? And this is going to naturally happen. And the woman who owns the salon that I rent a little chair in 2 days a week in Newport Beach, Patty, she charges an astronomical amount. And when Patty's prices go up, they're like, I want somebody super great. She'll say, well, Jack only works 2 days a month. If you're willing to wait 6 months to get on the schedule, you can try Jack, right? So there's somebody who charges, and honestly, my prices are ridiculously silly. I charge too much because I don't want any more clients, but I'm still less than Patty, right? Like that's the point of this story, is so when Patty's clients are looking for someone, they'll find me. And when my clients are looking for those, so there's a group of musical chairs, but what I will tell you is Patty would never refer me a client if she didn't think I was up to date on the best techniques. Yeah. So that's why I think education is so important right now. There is a game of musical chairs. You will gain clients and you will lose clients, and you will gain more clients if you are showing up every day with your makeup on and your hair done and looking professional. You will gain more clients if your technique is on point, if you show up on time. You've got to just be a little bit more excellent than everyone else, and you will be so busy. I'll tell you, and if you want to relocate, move to Austin, Texas. I will tell you, I live half in Southern California and half in Austin, Texas. And there's so many companies that have moved to Texas because it's so business friendly. But you know who hasn't moved to Texas? Our hairdressers. Like, it's wild to me. When I want to just go get an appointment, like I've got to beg and plead and like barter like product with hairdressers to get an appointment, because it is wild here. So there are thriving areas of the country where people are, it's sad. Like I love California. I grew up in California. That the dynamics of that state have changed a lot. But one thing I will say that hasn't changed is hairdressers are booked solid there, right? And hairdressers are booked solid here in Austin, Texas. I feel like it's never been an easier time to be a stylist in terms of building a clientele. Like if you're, go watch Mary's conversation on social climbing. They'll teach you great techniques at behind the chair on social climbing. Go watch some of these awesome things in the BTC library, but let them arm you that your value is high and you need to raise your prices. I really think that's so important.
I think that's why, I want to do this summer school series, because I think there's so much that's going on. I just want like step by step things, like things that you can implement right now, things that you should be thinking about, just like what you're talking about it as well. And I agree 1,000%. Is you have to be up to date on the latest techniques. I mean, you just have to. You've got to know what's going on, and then find your specialty. It's amazing how many people have built businesses on that specialty. It's crazy really when you think about it. But that's what people want. They want to go to somebody that they know is capable of doing the work and doing that particular look that they want. But it doesn't negate the fact. I was having a conversation yesterday with the president of Sassoon Worldwide or the CEO of Sassoon Worldwide. And she was, they actually just bought Dry Bar, which I didn't know. They bought 60 Dry Bars. And we were talking about education. And that's one of the, the things that I think is so important is classic education as well. Not just to learn one haircut, but to learn how to cut hair, not just to learn one hair color technique, but to learn how to color hair. And it's something that I think I really want to keep, looking at BTC University, how we're going to continue to build out some of those basic programs as well, where people know what's basic, intermediate, and advanced, but where they get those really strong fundamentals. And I think that that's really super important. So did you give me 5 or did you give me 4? Do you have one more?
I literally only gave you 3. Which I think those 3 are incredibly important. Like be nimble, be willing to switch product lines so you can use something great and you can fill your cabinet. Raise your prices and stay educated. And if you want 4, I will say like look professional, show up with your hair and makeup done. And then a 5th one is like be on time and just be present for your clients. Like stay off your phone. Be truly present with your clients. Oh, I'll give you a 6th one. You guys, if you're not retailing to your clients, you are literally throwing away money. Like your clients are buying shampoo, they're buying conditioner, they're buying styling products. They need to be buying them from you. It is a piece of your income. Please see it as a piece of your income. Yeah. So there's.
Okay. I have one final question for you. Okay. So I'm a stylist. I like Jack Winn. I'm intrigued. Okay. Tell me, can they go on, create an account, and what product are they going to be, or products are they going to be blown away by? What should they order?
That's like asking you which child is your favorite, Mary.
Well, I've heard bleach is pretty amazing. And that's like, we call bleach the gateway drug. Like we say that, if you've got a really great bleach, it says a lot about your overall color. But what would that be, and how can they do it? Like, how can they like, dip their toe in, right?
No, this is a great question. So you can visit JackmanPro.com, click I'm a licensed professional, and there's all kinds of starter packs. I'm really excited about our liquid color right now. I would say that's a really interesting thing that we do. We do have 3 incredible lightening products. I like to call them lighteners instead of bleaches, Mary. So we have 3 incredible
lighteners.
3 incredible lightning products. One that's for open air balayage, one that like tones as it lifts, and then Brilliant is the gateway drug for Jackman Pro. It lifts clean, it lifts evenly, it leaves the hair in incredible condition. You could do a side-by-side between Brilliant and your current lightener, and you would see our incredibly high-quality ingredients. Anyways, visit JackmanPro.com, check out our starter packs. If you just want to know more, that's kind of the beautiful part about our community. They do get 10% back if they help you become a Jackman Pro associate. So I can almost guarantee you, if you dropped a comment here and you said, I'm interested, there would be somebody eager to help you out, super eager to help you out. And there's no shame in the game of them trying to be the best educator they can be for you. The the best person to help you understand what we do differently at Jackman Pro. And if you're interested in the fact that we give us, we also have a library of incredible education.
Yeah.
We also have, really special trips for stylists. In fact, on the 1st, here, you spilled a secret that your team was probably mad at you for. I'm going to spill a secret that'll make my team mad. On Wednesday, the 1st of June, we're releasing how to earn your way to join us for the BTC show. So we'll take hairdressers with us to the BTC show. So if you're a Jackman Pro associate and you're watching right now, make sure you tune in on Wednesday night for my Wednesday.
And I can attest that you guys brought a number of people to the last show. So
yeah, we bring them. It's super fun. So, it's complicated. There's basically 4 pillars that make Jackman Pro different. Like, it's super high quality product, super high quality education, an incredibly embracive community, and then finally a better opportunity, better business. So that's what really kind of sets us apart in the world.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I think it's been great to see you. And,
so much fun.
Great to have a convo.
If you want any help with your summer school, I would love to join you for one. So if you think of anything,
I honestly just came up with it this weekend, and I was just thinking, that like summer school would be just an amazing thing where it's, where I'm like where we're actually live, like summer school for balayage, summer school for cutting. Like I was thinking art cutting could do that as well. But I just think that it's like a jump start in a sense. And we're also thinking about doing some fun summer camps at the BTC house where hairdressers will be able to actually stay at the house and have a summer camp weekend at the house in West Hollywood. So enjoying education and the pool, and we have this taco man that comes and like makes tacos for everyone. It's just, and then if you can check out the house it's stunningly beautiful. And it's a lot of fun, and it's where we do all of our BTCU education from. But we thought it would be really fun to open it up to hairdressers and give them an opportunity to come for summer camp as well. So maybe we could do a summer camp with Jacqueline Pro.
I love
it at the BTC house. Isn't it be fun? I know. I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited about it. But I think for those that can't go to summer camp, I think doing a summer enrollment for summer classes, I think would be really cool, and sort of a summer school kind of thing. So I'm excited about that. I think it'll give us some quick sort of like some crash courses over like 4 weeks of teaching. And it's going to, you guys, for everybody that's out there listening, it's going to be free to all of our BTCU members. So if you are a member of BTC University, there's no additional fee whatsoever. So if you're not a BTCU member, you can become a member literally today for $120 for the year, or you can sign up for $14.95 a month. And you can participate in all of our summer classes. So we're really excited about it. And again, I think, everybody needs to get educated right now more than ever, especially on a business level, just so you can prepare yourself for where you might get surprised in what's happening with inflation. Just be better educated. I spend a ton of my time trying to study all of this so you don't have to. And I want to be able to take all the stuff that's in my brain and sort of spit it out in a really useful way for our hairdressing community.
And Mary, hairdressers actually love it. Whether or not they implement it or not, I'm not sure, but they actually love hearing this conversation around business. So I'm grateful to you for doing that. And one of the beautiful things about BTC University, what Mary's particular talks on there, is you guys could put in your AirPods and lay on the beach while your kids are playing and listen to these incredible business talks. Obviously a cut or color demo you're going to want to watch on your phone, but there's some great business talks that I think are perfect for summer school. Where you could just pop in your AirPods and watch. Okay, well, I know I've taken a lot of your time. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great to see you. Great to chat. Always innovative. And you guys check out Jack Winn Pro. You guys know I don't do this very often, and but I always do it with people that matter, that I think have really interesting concepts and so forth. So Jack is one of those. You guys check him out. And hopefully I'll see you guys real soon. We're going to announce the lineup for the BTC show. As I said, very soon. It'll either be the end of this week or the beginning of next week. Jack has shared with you that he's in that lineup. And then we've got literally 3 packed days. So we'll be announcing that lineup really soon. I'll see you guys back for that announcement as well. And so thanks again, Jack, and everybody have a wonderful day behind the chair, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.